Okay, so continuing on with the last video that we did on creating this health bar, just to recap, what we did before was we added these buttons, and we were able to make it to where you go over, you cross over the object and the life leaves if you go over the bad guy, and it comes back if you go over the hero. We also had these buttons initially to where it can gain health and it can lose health. So those are different events. Like this event is the mouse over event, and this is the mouse up or mouse down event that's happening on these buttons. These up here are not buttons, these are images. So we were just using a different event that happens on these images, so that way we wouldn't see that that box that goes over the boxes. Now again, there are ways that we can get rid of that box, but that's beyond the scope of this this lesson right now. The next thing we want to be able to do is now be able to, whenever the character gets to a certain point in health, it might say, oh man, I'm feeling sick, or I'm feeling tired, or, and that as the character starts to gain health, he might say, oh, I feel stronger, or something like that. So just giving the user some indication as to what's actually happening on the screen. But before we do that, we have to do some we have to reformat our code. It's really called refactoring, but right now what we have is this button is doing all this work, this button is doing all this work. I actually lose health, yeah, that button is doing all that work. See, gain health is also that's the mouse over. Actually, this is also a mouse over, and this is a mouse over. But if you look at this code here, you'll notice that we have the health losing 10 points, and the health down here losing 10 points. And the main thing we want to focus on when we're writing code is not repeating the same code. So what I'd rather do in regards to this, instead of having this say PB health dot value minus equals 10 twice, what I'd rather do is create a custom procedure that does that for me, and then I can just feed that procedure to whoever needs it. So I can just say private sub lose health, and yeah, just say private sub lose health, and then from there I'm going to go ahead and close that off, hit enter. Now I have my private sub lose health, and then I could just take this part right here, put that in there. Now all I need to do is take this private sub lose health and throw it in here and throw that there. Now we should still see the private sub lose health work exactly the same. So let me go ahead and run this. So see, it's still losing health when I do that, and when he does it, it still loses health, and it still gains health. So I'm going to do the same thing to the gain health. Instead of lose health, I'm going to put gain health here. So I'll put that right under this. And again, all I'm going to do is go ahead and take that out of there, and then take this right here and replace that. And now if I run it, there we go. We have our buttons that still do it, that still gain health, and that also still loses health. So the next thing I really want to do is clean up this interface right now. Right now, I really don't need these buttons so big here, so I'm going to take this health button right here. I'm going to shrink it, and then I'm going to put it over to the side, and I'm going to take this lose health button, and I'm going to shrink it. Now when I'm shrinking it, you notice I'm shrinking it evenly on both sides. That's because I'm dragging the side while holding shift. And then if you wanted to get more precise to make this one the same size as this one, all I need to do is select this. And I can go down here and you notice it says width and height right here. I can technically take this width and height, copy it, select this one, come down here, see it's highlight, it highlights what you have selected, and then I can just go ahead and paste that width and height right there. Make sure you don't have two heights. So now these two are exactly the same, width and height. Alright, so we cleaned up our code, we refactored our code so we don't have any redundant code, and we cleaned up our interface. The next thing we're going to do is add some logic to this to where we're going to go into when this is taking too much health. We're going to give some indication up there that it's taking too much health, and when he's gaining health, we're going to give some indication that he's gaining health in this regards. So the first thing I need to do is to check to see if the health is under a certain amount. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go inside of the lose health, and then I'll say if, and I'm going to put pH. What did I call this right here? What did I call the health bar? Let me see. I must select that. PB health. Okay. So if PB health is so when I'm losing health, let's just say if it's less than 50, and I don't want just PB health, I want PB health dot value, because that's the property that I'm looking for. So if PB health is less than 50, then I'm going to say something, and I want to say that inside of the health bar. So inside of this health bar. So I'm going to select that health bar, and remember what we did before. Inside the grid, I have this text block here, and I call that text block txt health bar. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to say txt health bar dot text equals alright, so let's see if that works. So as I'm losing health, so that's the thing, as soon as I start, let's do this again. So we see there's a problem with my logic, and the problem is the fact that I put if it's greater than 50, and it is greater than 50. What I meant was if it's less than 50. Alright, let's try it again. So there we go with our health there. There it is. It's less than 50, and it says 00. Now we can advance this a little bit more. Instead of just saying something when it's less than 50, we can go ahead and take this value right here and put it into here, and then I can just make it say percentage if you just want to show the percentage when it's under 50. So we have an issue here, and the issue is that whenever you're putting values like this into a text box, you need to convert it to an integer. So what I'm going to have to do is do something like this. I mean, you have to convert it to a string, sorry, because we're adding strings together. Do something like that, and then it goes to 40 because it already hit under 50. Bam, perfect. And then we can do that from the beginning. We can say, okay, if it's under 99, let's say. So that means immediately when you get hit, you know, it's going to start. It's going to tell you. And so now that we have that, what we can do is the same thing under gain health. And basically, we're taking this part right here, and we're just going to do that under the gain health. So go something like this. And now I can do greater than. And so it keeps the percentages up the whole time, and it still gives me the 100%. And if it is getting more under the gain health, I can say getting healthier or something like that. Or just health. So on one, when I'm gaining health, it's going to say health, and when I'm losing health, it's just going to say the percentage. So when I run that, you'll see when I'm losing health, it'll just have the percentage, but when I'm gaining health, it'll add the health to it. So that's good. Now what we want to be able to do is we want to go ahead and have the character say something when the meter is at a certain percentage, right? So when he's at 50%, he might, and he's gaining health, he might say, oh, I'm getting better or getting stronger. And if he's losing health on the 50%, then he'll say, I need food now, or something like that. So that's what we're going to do in the next video. I'll see you guys then. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them in the section below.